G'day, this is Chris Chapman from The Running Company. We're here to discuss the launch of the new Structure Triax 20, which is going to come out the 1st of October. One of the hard things that we find though in trying to build a really good shoe is trying to get the difference in the density from the lateral side to the medial side. And what they've found and what we found with this particular shoe is and here's the shoe itself, the lateral compression zone through here was just very soft and the medial posting was very, very firm. So almost for some people, too big an imbalance from the lateral to the medial side. And over time, we've actually seen a lot of lateral compression in this shoe for people that weren't putting enough force through one foot or the other. The other thing is you need to think about the consumer that runs and uses these types of shoes. So sometimes the people that run in these shoes aren't necessarily straight line runners all the time. They'll go to the gym, they'll do some medial lateral movements and side-to-side movements as well. And as a result of that being so firm medially and then with this compression crease making the shoe very soft laterally, we've found a lot of people have come through our doors in their current Structure Triaxes, the 18s and the 19s, and they've compressed laterally. So yeah, that was probably one of the biggest call-outs with this particular version of the Structure. It's still sold really well because the upper is absolutely amazing, that one knit booty construction, and then also the dynamic support with the fly wire cabling coming through here to really lock and hold the foot in place is really, really good and really comfortable as well. So Nike are always nailing their uppers and this one was definitely no exception. But just needed to try and solve that lateral compression issue. And again, I think the guys have actually done a pretty good job. So we'll have a look at the 20. So here's a little bit of detail around the 20, and this is what Nike says. So the upper has a fly mesh upper with dynamic midfoot lockdown, great fit and feel. The midsole, I'll show you in a moment, is very different to the 18 and the 19, and the outsole as well. Let's just get stuck into it. So the first thing that I find with the upper of this shoe, if you have a look at the structure, is yes, it still has the dynamic fly mesh and still uses some of that dynamic fit as well, but the way it goes about it is very different. So they use this looping system right through the midfoot here, and it starts at the front and then works its way up here until the two last eye stays. Now, I find this looping system will actually be really durable. That should definitely not come apart or fall apart in any way, shape or form, and give a really good lockdown through the midfoot. And then just to reinforce it at the rear foot, the last two loopholes are reinforced again with the fly wire cabling on both the lateral and then the medial side as well. And you see they call that dynamic fit there. But let's get straight to the guts of it. Is really the medial posting and the difference between it and the midsole, because this is really where the heart and soul of this shoe is changed. So having a look at the difference between the 19 and the 20, they've gone back to more of a traditional dynamic support, similar to the 16, but a lot more stable this time around. So I think they've learned from the dynamic support of the 16, learned from the imbalances of the 18 and the 19, and I reckon they've nailed it here in the 20. So here's why, we'll have a bit of a look. The first thing is probably the geometries and the actual width of the amount of ground contact coming in, of your foot coming into ground. So the new 20 is a wider base overall, so a wider base of stability for the runner straight off the bat. So that's a really good starting point. And again, full ground contact all the way through, which is great. The most prominent thing was definitely that medial posting. That has disappeared altogether. So dynamic support is still in here, and you can see at the rear foot where it starts to get firmer and use another density of midsole. On the lateral side, this is where they've really nailed it. So notice the geometries here, they're not cutting into the shoe anymore. So as a result, it makes it less chance of the shoe to having laterally compressed over time. We've had gait analysis on this shoe, we've run in this shoe. The transition from heel strike to mid stance to toe off is a lot smoother as a result, because you don't have the clunkiness of the initial lateral compression being so aggressive and then moving to a big medial post on the inside as well. So it's a very smooth transition now from heel strike rolling through to mid stance and engaging some of that support all the way through to toe off as well. So done a really, really good job with the transition from rear foot, mid foot, and then forefoot. The good thing is the pitch is a really generous pitch as well, so it's 22-12, so a 10 mil offset. That 10 mil pitch means it's going to be open to a lot of runners. It's not an 8 or a 6, and it's not a 12, 13, 14. 10's a really good sweet spot. So now having the shoe not very soft laterally, not having it dig in medially through here as well, a really nice midfoot lockdown in the upper. This shoe is now being opened up to a slightly wider consumer base and probably what it has been in the past, which is great. So more people are going to be able to run in that shoe and really enjoy it. And again, talking about that lateral cutout there, the difference is pretty significant. So a really good update all in all for the Structure Triax 20. We're really excited to get this on the shelf and get this on the feet of runners. Said we've tested it ourselves. We've seen that it holds up really stable in comparison to the competition from a rear foot perspective. And again, they've nailed the fit and feel with the upper. So yeah, here's looking to the Structure Triax 20 coming out in the 1st of October here in Australia at the Running Company. Have a good day.